This is BluLunch, Sheridan College's own sports podcast, hosted by Jay and Drew.
Do you ever just get down on your knees and thank God that you know me and have access to my dimension? What are you talking about? I'm not gonna do it. You're not gonna do it? What do you mean you're not gonna do it? I can't. I'm not an orgy guy. Are you crazy? This is like discovering plutonium by accident.
How can you say that I sound like that?
Because you always do. You panic. Whatever we do, you blow it out of proportion, just like George Costanza would. For people listening, I call Justin George Costanza, and I show him George Costanza clips because that's how much you remind me of George Costanza.
So, okay.
And everyone loves George.
No.
Who doesn't like George?
Let me just get this straight here. First, you call me Don Cherry.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're calling me George Costanza. Can we go back to Don Cherry, please? I mean, at least he's a legend in Canada. I mean, George Costanza is the epitome of loser. I'm not. I'm sorry.
Worlds are colliding.
Worlds are colliding. Anyways, we got a special edition of BluLunch. We've never done this before, but we're going to have a Q&A Blue Rapid Fire. And it's going to kick off the show. And after that, we're going to hopefully get into the last week. You know, there's a lot of stuff. One of the big stories, obviously, we're going to get into is how good, which I'm really tempering that phrase, good, the Leafs are right now. Their goaltending may have suffered.
I believe we both said they would be 0-2, or sorry, 1-3 on the road trip last week.
Yeah. And I'm not sure what that means, but we were both wrong.
Yeah. Oh, blown out of the water.
Anyways, so let's go to the Q&A. I, concocted this over the weekend, so things may have changed.
Usually I write the script, and Justin decided that he was going to switch it up and take it into his own hands, so I'm curious to see what he's got for us.
I let you write the script so you feel useful. But anyways, here's the Q&A. It's quick. It's not going to be that long, and it's covering all four sports, which is great because we love to do that. First question, I guess, because it's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I want your opinion, and it's probably not what you think it's going to be, the question I mean. If you were starting a franchise, which young quarterback would you build around, or would you love to have to build around? New franchise.
Good question. I would probably take RG3. Just, he's exciting, he can run, he can pass, he can do it all.
So here, I got 5 options for you.
Okay.
Obviously, RG3 is one of them. I have Colin Kaepernick, Andrew Luck, Robin Griffin III, Russell Wilson, or Cam Newton.
RG3.
RG3?
Yeah.
Would you like to know what I would pick?
Sure. You want me to ask you that, so sure.
No, actually. Actually, I have my answers rehearsed. What I wanted was to just let you know that I'm actually on the Andrew Luck train in this question. Like, normally I would pick Kaepernick, but I don't know. The rushing quarterback, is that really... I don't know if that's really going to help some teams. I think Andrew Luck did more for his team. The other 4 are rushing quarterbacks. Andrew Luck's the pocket passer. I know. I mean, you have... Okay. Pocket passers, are they going to be more successful than the rushing ones?
We'll see. The NFL back in the early 2000s kind of went from the pocket passer to the running quarterbacks, and then eventually back to the pocket passers. And now I think we're coming back to the running quarterbacks. If you remember Michael Vick, Donovan McNabb, they were guys that could basically run the ball if they were in trouble, and obviously throw it to get out of trouble too. So, and then we transitioned into Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and then it was kind of a little bit of both with Aaron Rodgers, and we're kind of getting back to the running quarterbacks. But I think what's making the league so successful right now is what San Francisco ran with Kaepernick, which was the read option, which was fake the handoff and let the quarterback run or throw. And I think RG3 is the best at it. So he impressed me the most out of all the quarterbacks. Andrew Luck, you expect.
But he's injury prone. I'm saying you start a franchise.
I would. You know what? I don't. Washington isn't the smartest organization. I mean, I wouldn't risk RG3's career on one playoff game like they did in the playoffs against Seattle. I would have probably sat him, thrown out Kirk Cousins, see where I got. But no, RG3 would be my pick.
All right, well, I got Andrew Luck. RG3's injury prone. I wouldn't take him.
Fair enough.
Russell Wilson. I saw him when he came to Toronto. I watched that game. He impressed me in that game. And, I mean, for me, in this list, he's probably one of the dark horses. You're either going to pick Colin Kaepernick, Andrew Luck, or RG3. Again, I love Kaepernick, but he made some mistakes in that big game, and I just think, would Andrew Luck have made those mistakes? I don't know. He's not a rushing quarterback.
Andrew Luck didn't get that far.
So. I know, but I'm saying if he was in that position, would he have made those mistakes? We will never know.
We might know in a couple of years.
Hopefully for the Colts. Next one I got, we're going to MLB.
Perfect.
Interesting question. The pitchers and catchers are reporting today officially. We're particularly excited here in Toronto in the GTA because of the Jays. And the question I have is, which starting pitcher will mean the most to his team in 2013? Here are the 5 pitchers I have. Justin Verlander of the Tigers, R.A. Dickey of the Blue Jays, David Price for the Rays, Jared Weaver for the Angels, or Felix Hernandez for the Seattle Mariners.
Definitely not Felix Hernandez, because I don't think Seattle will be very good. I wouldn't say R.A. Dickey either.
But apparently, here's the thing with Felix Hernandez. He's trying to become the most highest paid pitcher in MLB, and I don't know.
I don't know. Seattle's
$175 million is the reported amount over 7 years.
He's a great pitcher.
He is a great pitcher, but
I don't know. You could spend that money on so much, like 3-4 other parts.
Who else on that? I know we're getting way off of what your answer or my answer is, but this is interesting. The reason I put him on this list is because, he's trying to re-sign for stupid amounts of money, in my opinion, but he's worth it. Mm-hmm. Seattle needs to focus on other things, though. I don't know what their salary position is right now. If they can afford to do this and do other things. But
they were in the running for Josh Hamilton. So
they need to do a lot. Money, and for me, it was interesting to add him to this if he was going to mean anything to Seattle. So I got Justin Verlander, R.A. Dickey, David Price, Jared Weaver, and then you said Felix Hernandez. No.
I wouldn't pick R.A. Dickey just because it's weird to say this, but the Blue Jays have so much pitching depth that if R.A. Dickey didn't pitch at his best, I think the Blue Jays would still be okay with Johnson, Morrow, Burley, Romero. Verlander I would probably pick just because the Detroit Tigers need Justin Verlander. They need that ace. If they lose Verlander, the Tigers are a legitimate World Series contender. They're in the Central. They'll probably win the Central, and they'll win it because of Verlander. But when you take Verlander away, the depth of their pitching depth drops huge. I mean, they have Anibal Sanchez. He's not really an ace. I think he's overpaid personally, but my answer would be Verlander. I don't know who you would go with.
It's funny. I would have picked R.A. Dickey only because the Jays haven't had an ace since Roy Halladay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you would agree with that. I'm sorry Ricky Romero's not an ace. Brendan Morrow is the closest thing to an ace they've had, but he was second to Romero. At least that's where they put him last year, and he was injured last year. So, I would pick R.A. Dickey, but I think for me it's between Price and Weaver. If I was gonna make one decision, if I had to, I would pick Price because
he's maybe the best pitcher in baseball.
With Shields gone and with the trade, David Price is going to be everything to the Rays. If he falters, especially in Toronto, because he plays well against Toronto, if he falters at all, I don't know if the Rays, with who they have,
they got a lot younger. I mean, they traded Wade Davis too in that deal, and he was a mainstay in the rotation. I mean, they have Jeremy Hellickson, but Jeremy Hellickson is no David Price.
So no love for Justin Verlander, one of the best pitchers.
I said Justin Verlander, or you mean Jared Weaver?
Sorry, Jared Weaver. Jared Weaver. I was like, whoa, Jared Weaver's an amazing pitcher.
Yeah, he's good. I want to see.
He's good. Would you like him on the Jays?
I want to see how Anaheim does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, there's so many teams that have great pitching. Like, look at the Phillies. Didn't they at one point they had the best rotation in the league?
They didn't win the World Series either.
They
had Cliff
Roy
Lee,
Halladay had an awful year.
Cole Hamels and Roy Oswalt, and they did not win. They lost to the Chris Carpenter and the eventual champion St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay, so obviously, we're going through all four. We're going to do NBA. Now, this one is going to be...
I'm curious to see what you got for this one.
I know. I was struggling because I was thinking that the average NBA fan probably pays attention to certain things in the sport, whether they're negative or positive. For me, I'm a casual NBA fan. I don't really watch it too much. If it's an interesting storyline for two opposing teams, I'll watch the game. But I have this question: is the biggest letdown / disappointment from the 2012-2013 NBA season so far?
Okay.
The options I have for you are LeBron James still winning, because that pisses everyone off.
Can't really pick that, but go on.
Well, I would.
Okay, go on.
But you'll get my answer. Number 2, poor officiating. I think you can...
Poor officiating on the Raptors.
It's true, but I mean, poor officiating overall. They're the worst officiated sport in pro sports, in my opinion.
Next option,
Hornets. And this is kind of... This is off the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, this is off the wall.
I know what you're going to say.
I don't... Well, maybe because you saw it, what I wrote.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Their team name?
This is off the wall. No. No.
I thought you were going to make fun of how they're going to be called the Pelicans. But okay, go on.
That could also be on this list. That could be a dark horse here. Hornets putting in Austin Rivers and the complete... I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say anything.
Next.
He's not playing well. And he's what, 4th overall? He was picked 8th overall.
He was late. He was mid first round.
Yeah, and they got no one else. He's playing like garbage and whatever. You should know this. Landry Fields.
Okay, that's a legitimate choice.
Big on the list there, at least for Toronto fans. And number 5, LA Lakers. Bonus though. Before you start jumping on number 5.
Yeah. Well, I'm jumping on it no matter what. So.
Washington Wizards suckage, which is just beyond.
People expected the Washington Wizards to be bad,
but it's a letdown, really. I mean, think about it. Think of their fans. Like if Toronto lost, if Toronto won 4 games or 7 games the entire season, would you not be like depressed beyond belief? I think that's a letdown.
It's a letdown, but
that's why it's a bonus. You can pick it if you want. But I mean,
Austin Rivers is a mid first round pick. Going back to your Hornets point, so you're gonna have to expect ups and downs with him.
Yeah.
And people thought he came out of college too early. He came out of Duke. People thought he could have used an extra year of seasoning in college before he went to the NBA. They don't know whether he's a 1 or a 2. He can handle the ball at the 1, but he's not good enough to shoot at the 2. So he's kind of a combo guard. But no, it's the Lakers without a doubt.
Yeah, my pick. Well, the 2 big picks here would be Landry Fields or the Lakers. The Lakers are by far, bar none.
Before we go to the Lakers, with Landry Fields, I know he struggled with his shot, but he's played good defense. They could put him at the 2, the 3, or the 4. He's very versatile. He can come off the bench. He can start. He doesn't complain. He's a professional. He does Sony PlayStation commercials. I'm just kidding. But he does a little bit of everything.
You mean PSP?
Is it? Oh, sorry. Yeah,
it's PSP. It's the least liked system out there, and he does commercials.
But yes, he's overpaid for what he does. He's making over $6 million this year. But no, the Los Angeles Lakers. How you can get a 2-time MVP in Steve Nash, put him with Kobe Bryant, get the best center in the league in Dwight Howard, and you already have world peace and Pau Gasol, who you've won championships with, and you can't put it all together and win.
About this team. Okay, I just want you to tell me what you think about the drama going on between Bryant and Howard.
Ah, I know.
Oh my God.
Dwight Howard's dad's getting involved, saying that Kobe should make things public, that it should stay in the locker room, and it's Kobe's team. But I partly blame Kobe Bryant because if you watch the Lakers, Kobe Bryant, obviously they're struggling, but when they're struggling, Kobe wants the ball. It's his team. He wants to be the man to turn it around. But he's got all these weapons, and he's really not using them. I mean, what made Dwight Howard so successful in Orlando was they would throw the ball into Howard. Howard would overpower the opposing center, and he'd put up double-doubles every game. It's not happening anymore. And he has a bum shoulder, I know, but I find Kobe Bryant's not sharing the ball. You got to put the ball in Steve Nash's hand, because if Steve Nash has the ball, he can dish to Kobe, then Kobe can do what he wants, or he can dish to Howard. He can drive and kick to world peace. They can throw it into Gasol. There's so many options. I don't know if it's an act of selfishness that Kobe Bryant just wants the ball or Dwight Howard wants the ball, but when you're that talented, when you have that amount of talent on a team and you can't win, there's something wrong. And it's not like they're in a little streak for 5 games or 10 games where, okay, they'll eventually turn out. If you watch Lakers, they look horrible on the court. I take the Raptors over the Lakers, and that's saying something.
Just bottom line, the team is awful for who they have, for what they're paying for them. The 4 or 5 players that they have there. They got, how many players did they get? 3 players in the summer?
They got 3 in the summer. They got Howard, 2, Howard and Nash to put with Gasol, Bryant,
and you would,
and
I
Meta.
mean, we can go on about this for hours, but
Definitely the most disappointing
about the
topic
this
in the NBA.
season.
Oh,
Oh,
without
for
a doubt,
sure, for
without a
sure.
doubt.
Especially for their fans. They're so used to winning, and they have all these great players. It's like,
I'm surprised you didn't put LeBron James's commercial with his kids eating breakfast. I would have put that as disappointing.
I don't know if it's disappointing. It's just creepy. Like, why? I don't know.
Do dads really say "hit me up" when they ask for the electronic device?
I think LeBron does. He's an odd duck, that one. He's the one who had to have the decision, which was the stupidest thing on television I've ever seen in my life. And I didn't watch it.
It's like an episode of Maury.
It was like an hour. It was an hour long,
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I was just
did.
like, yeah, keep talking. I changed the channel. I forget what I was watching. I think I was watching the hockey game or something. And
Well, no, it was in July, so it couldn't have been hockey.
it was in.
It was in July.
I completely forget. See, obviously, I don't really care about what he said. But anyways, by the end, everyone changed it to the end just
Yeah.
to see what his decision was. Finally. Okay,
What a way to. Sorry, last
ahead.
point on that. What a way to toy with Cleveland Cavalier fans. You're where you grew up, where you've spent your whole career, to have a conference and say, "Yeah, see you later. I'm going to South Beach." Low blow, low class.
Well,
He became very hated after that.
yep.
Let's move on.
Yeah, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna go on about this for hours too. So I think I'm gonna decide to take my talents on to the next topic.
I see what you did there. I see what you
in
did
this
there.
rapid fire. It's a good segue. Actually, it's a really, really bad segue. But anyways, we're obviously inevitably gonna get to the NHL. Now, there is so many topics we can talk about. We could incorporate the lockout into this somehow. I didn't want to. The lockout's over. I don't want to talk about the lockout anymore. So, my question, what has been the biggest surprise after the first quarter of the NHL season? 1, the Chicago Blackhawks atop the league. 2, goalless Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Okay.
3, Washington Capitals last place overall. Just atrocious. Number 4, Rangers record in the standings. And then 5, Leafs against Montreal on Saturday. 6-0 drubbing.
I would.
Bonus. I got a bonus.
Okay.
Luke Shen leading the Philadelphia Flyers in giveaways, while JVR is leading the Leafs in goals. And he's 5th in goals in the league right now.
Wow. What was the question? The most surprising?
What has been the biggest surprise after
Biggest
the first
surprise.
quarter of the NHL season?
I'd say I'd use a combo of your answer on how what team did you have there? How bad the Rangers were?
Rangers.
I would incorporate how these. I would say how these good teams they look good on paper, but they've started out bad. So you've got the Rangers, you've got the Flyers, you've got the Capitals, you've got the Kings. If the playoffs were to start today, none of them would make the playoffs. Minnesota, you could probably throw in there too, because they got Parise and Suter. So the biggest surprise would be how these teams with this star power, firepower, have struggled in the shortened season, while teams like Toronto, New Jersey's been surprising.
Carolina even.
Yeah, Carolina's starting to get it together. Anaheim's done really well. So to see those teams jump into the top 8 and knock out Philly, I mean, Philly's a good team. And they didn't show it last night, or they showed it for the first shift of the game. And after that, well, I shouldn't say that. They outshot Toronto.
How much of it last night? I mean, I guess we're done with this.
Is that your last question?
We can get right into the Leafs. That's why I had that bonus for
Luke Shen.
Luke Shen leading the Flyers in giveaways. Last night, is it more how bad Philly played or how well Toronto played?
Combo of both. Philly, I mean, the first shift of the game they scored, and it was one of I don't know if you watched the game, but it was one of those, oh my God, is this how it's going to be all game? Are they going to lose 8-0?
That's exactly what I thought.
Like, is Philly just going to come in here, dominate us, and walk out of town, and we're just going to be back to square one, and Leaf Nation will be panicking? And Toronto, and actually Philly played well for maybe the first 10 minutes of the game. They were out shooting Toronto 11-6. And
Reimer was phenomenal.
Reimer was great, and kudos to Ben Scrivens for coming in and making 30-plus saves, only giving up a goal with, 30 seconds left in the game. The thing that I wanted to say about last night's game was I think the best thing that could have happened to Toronto was Philadelphia scoring on the opening shift, because I don't know what you think on this, but it's on other radio shows, but don't you find that Toronto plays very flat at home?
Oh, yeah.
And it's when the other team, like, look at Buffalo, look at the Carolina game. It's when, even the Islander game, it's when they get behind that it's like, oh, God, we better kick it up a notch. And for Philly to come in and score, it kind of made Toronto take it seriously and say, okay, we better start going out. And it was great to see them put up 5 goals, 1 from every line. And
so obviously we'll get into the goals. I think the best goal, or one of the prettiest goals we saw, was probably a tie between MacArthur's goal and James Van Riemsdyk's goal.
Yeah, no, they were both good. I don't care how they score the goals.
Well, think of it this way. We're talking about Luke Shen and his giveaways in our little rapid fire. You didn't pick that. I would have just honorarily picked it.
Yeah.
Even though it's not a surprise, because, well, actually, it is a surprise for Leafs fans, because was JVR really going to be this good? No one knew. He wasn't this good in Philly. Mind you, he didn't get first-line minutes in Philly. And I don't know if maybe it's the chemistry factor too.
From what JVR, we don't know yet, right? Obviously, he's played well. Let's judge it over a season. Yeah. I think with Luke Shen, what we saw last night is what we saw in Toronto over the course of his career, and that was there was some good, there was some bad, and there was some okay.
Hold on. I must have fallen asleep during those times. Where was the good?
The good was on the opening shift when he put the puck on net. Just
yes, but
a little
how many
wrist shot
times has
with
he
traffic in front.
ever done that? Never mind Philly. That was his first goal of the season. No, it wasn't even his goal. Point.
Luke Shen isn't an offensive defenseman.
He isn't, no.
He's a defensive stay-at-home guy. And
so think about it. If he's not an offensive defenseman, so he gets a point on that goal.
That was good for him. That I thought, oh my God, he's going to come into Toronto and he's going to get 2 points and he's going to.
That was almost poetic that he got a point on the first goal of the game, opening shift. He started,
And the bad was the James Van Riemsdyk goal. Ironically, the 2 guys were traded where Van Riemsdyk went around Shen dove for the puck,
that was
missed,
beautiful,
and Van Riemsdyk put it in.
Like, isn't that That's ironic that would happen. Not really. I mean, were the chances that Shen would be defending against JVR were pretty good, I guess. But I just thought, I first, when I saw the goal, like, live, I didn't even notice Shen was there. I guess because he's 22 now instead of 2. I'm so used to 2. But that I find
Are
it
you
hilarious.
referring to age or number?
Number. I didn't notice that he blew by Shen because I saw who was his D partner on on that goal. I'm not sure, but I saw that defenseman and I'm like, okay, well, he's gonna undress this guy, goes around him, and then I see 22 in the replay coming up and just lays down. And it's like, I'm gonna hit him with a stick, and then he misses him completely. He goes around and he backhands it to the right-hand side of Boucher.
Yes.
And it just like sailed into the net. Boucher's just like, I'll let it go in.
Out of all the things last night, there was a lot of good for the Leafs. Out of all the things that impressed me the most was the fourth line. Colton Orr, Jay McClement, and Fraser McLaren.
They've been stellar.
They've been great the past couple games.
Been stellar.
And the Leafs are going to have some decisions to make when Mike Brown and Joffrey Lupul and Jake Gardner and Carl Gunnarsson come back because Fraser's played well.
I don't think Gardner's coming back this season.
McLaren's played well. Orr's played well. Van Riemsdyk's played well on the first line.
very well.
I know he has.
Better than I think he's played over what he can actually do.
My favorite part of last night was when Colton Orr put in the second goal to put him up 2-1, and he put his hands up in the air like Matt Sundin used to, like he's scored a goal 1,000 times before. And you know Colton Orr, he doesn't score very many goals.
That was
and then he was out there on the power play. Carlisle's trying to get him another one, and he ends up taking a penalty, fitting. But no, I was really impressed by the fourth line.
Adding insult to injury? On the power play, you put out Colton Orr, Fraser McLaren.
Well, the game's out of hand. If Carlisle puts out Kessel or Bozak, Van Riemsdyk, maybe Peter Lavaloyette's gonna think, you know what, they're gonna try to run up the score. I'm gonna send out Ronaldo and all those guys.
I guess you could say that. I guess it would be adding insult to injury more adding Kessel. The reason I said adding Colton Orr is because you're pretty much sending like a signal or a message to Philly saying that we're going to put our fourth line out on the power play and we'll probably score because you guys are awful.
No, I don't think it was that.
I know, but I just thought it was funny.
Oh.
Like, and then he took a penalty. So that was kind of like, should you know what I would do? Or what I would have done, I would have rewarded the guys who have been consistent all year. The Fratton Kadri line, whoever plays with them, those two players, is phenomenal.
MacArthur looks really good on that line.
He looks good on that line, but he's played like crap.
Oh, he looked horrible on the first line with Bozak and Kessel. Obviously, Kulim and Grabowski and Mac couldn't get it together.
And now Komarov is on the second line.
Komarov looks good on the second line. And he's playing
so well.
The USSR line, yeah.
He assisted off in this goal. That was a great assist.
Leafs got 3 lines rolling on offense, and the fourth line's chipping in with grit, fights, and even points. So
who's been the most impressive Leaf thus far
this year?
This season, or first quarter of the season, 13 games.
James Reimer.
Yeah, for sure. And now James Reimer gets injured, and
they said Randy Carlisle came out and said that he shouldn't miss an extended amount of time.
I don't know what that means.
The talk is, it is a week. That he'll be out a week, and that Scrivens will carry the load.
Give Scrivens the next 3 starts. Why not?
Now, if you look back, they've won, is it 4 in a row?
Yep.
You could have been 5 with Carolina, but they've won 4 in a row, 3 on the road. They're 6-1 on the road. They're 8-5 in total. I'm a fan. When I look at the 8-5 record, I say, they could be 9-4. They could be 10-3. If they beat the Islanders, they dominated the Sabres.
Look at the Islanders now, though. 3-5-1 is their record.
4-7-1.
4-7-1.
Yes,
wow.
They lost last night to Carolina,
and they beat the Leafs 7-3.
Yeah.
Wow.
They have guys though.
They got guys that can score, but defensively.
But don't you think, looking at the past 4 games, that this is the team that Brian Burke envisioned?
Don't start. Don't start.
I
Okay.
mean, last night, 5-1.
You know what this is? I know what you're saying, but I think this is more because think of the new players that have come onto the Leafs. Mark Fraser, okay. Don't tell me that Burke envisioned
I'm going
him.
to let you finish.
Corbinian Holzer,
Mm-hmm.
he's been good. I'm talking physicality
Yeah.
now. Fraser McLaren, Nonis got him,
He's the only guy Nonis has got.
and
Everybody else is
been
Burke.
really good.
Yeah.
For the Leafs in the last 3 games. Colt Noor, he didn't even play last year. I mean, Burke signed him, but
$1 million a year.
I don't. I think it's more a case of if Burke's going to get credit, he's going to get credit for hiring.
I'm not giving him credit. I mean, this is only a little stretch. I want to see if they can keep it up the whole year. Let's see. I mean, right now they're in fourth place.
We skipped over Saturday's game.
Yeah, no, I'm going to get to that game.
When we're talking about Brian Burke's team, I was talking to someone yesterday about Saturday's game, and the whole Brian Burke thing. I don't care about Brian Burke. This is Randy Carlyle.
Yep.
This is his system. On Saturday, I don't know if you want to talk about last night but just a little thing about Saturday I found. I was talking to someone yesterday and I said that was the closest that I've ever seen the Maple Leafs get to playing playoff hockey. Like the way you're supposed to play in the playoffs, that's how they played against Montreal. And Montreal couldn't keep up with them because Montreal, in my opinion, is not a playoff team. They do not have the horses. Toronto may have them.
On the Montreal game was that was the ideal game for, and I'm going to say Brian Burke's Leafs because it is his team. Other than
It's
Fraser,
Randy Carlyle's
other than
team.
Fraser McLaren, though, he put that team together. Let me finish.
Okay.
They won 6-0. That was the ideal game. They went into Montreal. They not only kicked their butt on the scoreboard, they kicked their butt
On the ice.
in their face.
They defended each other.
Kessels was scoring. Van Riemsdyk was scoring in front of the net. Reimer had, 37 saves for the shutout.
That's not a bad shutout.
Colton Orr knocked out Rene Bourque.
It's not like 16 saves here.
Grabowski bites Pacioretty. Prust is trying to get in people's faces.
But Pacioretty complains, gets a tetanus shot.
I mean, the Leafs literally beat up Montreal. To do that to your rival in their home, on the scoreboard, on the ice, that's what Brian Burke wants. It reminded me of the Boston Bruins. That's what the Bruins
That's
would do.
exactly what I said. Again, when this person I was talking to yesterday, I mentioned that, that is the closest I've ever seen them play playoff hockey. They weren't playing a playoff team, and they weren't in the playoffs. But that's the way they need to play
right now,
in the
Montreal's
playoffs.
a playoff team.
Right now,
they're in sub.
They are a playoff team, yes. But you're going to see fallout in the next month. I'm not talking about the Habs or the Montreal Canadiens. I'm talking about a lot of other teams. Toronto may be on that list of teams that will fall out because New York and maybe Philly. I don't know. I'm starting to think Philly's going to stay down there with Washington now. But you're going to get some of these teams like New York who are not in the playoff position right now.
Well, New York's in 8th. They're just ahead of Tampa Bay.
Okay, now Tampa Bay and New York, in my opinion,
Rangers
they're
will
gonna
make a
start
run.
cranking it
Flyers
up.
will make a run. The Sabres always make a run.
I don't think the Sabres do.
We'll see
Ryan Miller's playing like garbage.
You know what, though? Buffalo always does it every year. They start off
They
bad.
didn't make the playoffs last year.
No, but they were awfully close after that horrid start where they wanted Lindy Ruff and Darcy Regier fired.
Well, Lindy Ruff has been apparently he's had a lot of pressure on him the last couple of weeks, and
he's had a lot of pressure on him the past couple of years.
No, I know, but especially the last couple of weeks because Ryan Miller is playing like crap. And
do you know what though?
The team is in my opinion, the team is really talented.
It's Ryan Miller, and he's on Buffalo. And as long as they have Ryan Miller, even if he's playing bad or not, they have a chance. Whether he's been inconsistent,
so you
always have a chance. Buffalo will make a run. They always do. They'll always rip off 3-4 in a row, get back in it, and then take care of business against the team.
Fine. Quick question then. Regular season's done. There's like 30, 32 games left. Who makes the playoffs top 8 East? Tell me. You can tell me West too, but that's going to take too long.
No,
Just pound off 8 teams right now.
New Jersey, Boston.
You think New Jersey's going to make... They're not going to fall off the
No, they're playing good hockey. New Jersey, Boston.
Boston for sure.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Carolina. I'll
You
say
think
the
Carolina's gonna make?
Carolina will win the division. They'll win the division. So sorry, New Jersey, Boston, Pittsburgh, Carolina. That's 4. I'll pick the Rangers as 5. Tampa Bay will be 6. Philly will be 7th. And then for 8th, it'll either be Toronto or Ottawa. Maybe Buffalo.
I think you're wrong. I think if
I'm not saying that in that order. I'm not saying.
you're saying in all likelihood,
I'm saying if I had to pick 8 teams, those would be
Right now.
8 teams.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying in that order.
But think of how many teams you didn't mention that are in 5th and 6th right now.
Well,
Montreal,
Ottawa,
Toronto, and all of a sudden Toronto and you didn't even mention Montreal.
No, I know. I think they'll drop out.
But think of it this way: what would have to happen? And it's very possible that this could happen. For Toronto, they're in 4th right now. They're tied with Pittsburgh for 4th. If they go into Carolina on Thursday night and they win, and now their away record, they're on the road. They're
6-1 right
They're
now.
7-1, beating Carolina. Then they come back to the ACC. This is Hockey
They got
Night in
Ottawa
Canada.
on Saturday.
Yeah. They come back to the ACC on Saturday night. Hockey Night in Canada, Ottawa. If I was gonna pick any game that they're gonna win, the next 3, they got Carolina, Ottawa, and who's the Monday game? Forget who it is.
Florida.
Florida. If I was gonna pick a team to that they would win against, it would be Hockey Night in Canada, Ottawa.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't care if they're at home or like the next Saturday, they're at Scotiabank Place for Hockey Night in Canada against Ottawa. So, anyways, that's going to be a great game. If they go into Carolina and they win that game, all of a sudden they're 9-5.
They've got
They got a chance.
They've got
now.
Carolina, Ottawa. Then they go to Florida Monday,
Who's
Tuesday.
the biggest threat out of the next 3 games? Because we did. Remember last week we did the next 3 games and we were wrong, but they won 3 games. We won 4 games in a row. So let's do the next 3 games.
They seem to do the opposite though of what at least I pick. You're sometimes right, but I'm way off the board with what they do. I thought they would get trounced in Winnipeg, and they had a gritty effort.
Winnipeg is a very
Here's
similar
their schedule.
team.
Here's their next 5: Carolina, home to Ottawa on Saturday. Then they go to Florida on Monday. They play Tampa on Tuesday, obviously in Tampa. And then they come home Thursday and they face Buffalo.
Tampa's going to be
And
a
then
really tough game. Tampa's, even though they've lost a few games now,
They
still
lost 4 in a row.
Yeah, they lost 4 in a row, but they have a lot
That's
of
the
firepower.
thing, though. Toronto could be in Tampa's position in a week from now. I mean, Tampa looked good. They were talk of the town a week ago. Now they've lost 4 in a row.
But
They're
that
out
could
of the
be
playoffs.
any team too.
Exactly.
I mean, look at
So
Boston.
That's
Boston's
why people need to temper expectations. With
Boston
this club.
has played 11 games, I believe.
10.
10 games.
8-1-1.
So, I mean, they're second in the East, I believe, and like, can you say that they've only played 10 games? Look at the other teams that played 13 games, and they're in 5th. What happens if Boston loses 3 more games? All of a sudden, they're going from 8-2-1 or something like that to 8-5-1. You know what I mean?
We'll worry about that when that happens.
But I'm just saying, it could happen to any team. You know, I mean, we could say, which team do you think it's not going to happen to? There's one team in the league right now that I think it's not going to happen to.
Chicago?
Yeah, we talked about that in the rapid fire for sure. I don't think Chicago's 10-0-1 or 2, 10-0-2.
No.
That is crazy. You know, if you asked me at the beginning of the season, even last year, who's going to be undefeated in regulation in the first quarter of the next season or this season, Chicago wouldn't be on that list because their goaltending is suspect. Now, you could say that about a lot of other teams. You know, look at Vancouver. They're, 3rd, 4th in the West? And
3rd.
And they have one of the best goaltending tandems in the league. And then you go to Chicago, you look at Chicago, and their tandem is like, ugh. Like, I don't know.
They got the offense, though, right?
Exactly. And you know who's playing well? Patrick Kane.
He might be playing the best in the league right now.
He is. He got first star last week for the NHL.
I want your thought process on the Mikhail Grabovski bite on Max Pacioretty. Whose fault is that? Is it Mikhail Grabovski's fault for biting him, or is it Pacioretty's fault for coming from behind him and putting his arm there?
Well, Pacioretty did comment on it.
Because so
And
many
he-
people are split. I mean, Mike Milbury said, and well, Mike Milbury's a little crazy, but he said that if anybody
little?
did that to him, he would have taken a chunk out of his arm. That you don't do that. And that he called out Josh Georges for saying, because if Josh Georges said that there's no place in the game for biting, for being a wimp like that. But
A wimp.
yeah. But Mike Milbury said Josh Georges shouldn't be talking about Mikhail Grabowski. He should be telling Max Pacioretty, hey, don't do that. Don't go up from behind. Don't put yourself in that position because, yeah, he is going to bite you. Who's in the fault there?
Well, the only thing I can comment on here is you're in a scrum. There's 5 or 6 different players. And this, you don't even, Grabowski didn't know who the hell it was. He's standing there and he's trying, protect his player, pull someone off. All of a sudden, Pacioretty comes up behind him, bare armed. He didn't. His jersey was up, his glove was off, and he wraps his hand, his whole arm around Grabowski's face and mouth, so he can't breathe. Now, in my opinion, if I'm say I'm in a scrum as well, just like Grabowski was, and some guy comes up behind me, I don't even know who it is, wraps his arm around me, I can't breathe, I'm biting
You're
him.
going to do the same.
And you can't tell me.
That's my opinion too. I think
When people tell me, and over the last few days as well, they've been, a lot of people have been commenting and discussing this and saying some people are you can't bite. That's not in the game, just like what Josh George has said. But you know what? There's 2 lines of thinking in that Grabowski didn't do anything. One, you don't put your arm in someone's face and try to, he didn't try to choke him, but his arm's on him. You can't breathe. So something's going to happen. And 2, what did you expect was going to happen?
Keep in mind too, Grabowski's been on the Leafs a couple of years now, but he was on Montreal, and I'm sure you'll agree that when he faces Montreal, he always seems to
A little
up
feistier.
it up a notch. And
You love that. You got to love that.
No, and it used to be with the Kostitsins that he used to do that. They hated each other. Now they're both gone. But one of the few leftovers from when Grabowski was there was Pacioretty. So
To me, he's a baby.
Pacioretty?
He got a tetanus shot because apparently he thinks Grabowski has rabies. That was totally uncalled for.
He got a shot?
He got a tetanus shot.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got a tetanus shot, and a lot of people are actually, they're not saying very good things about Pacioretty right now because he's a wimp, and he's trying to. In my opinion, he knows it's unnecessary that he gets a tetanus shot. The reason he got it is to sort of prove to the league that he did get bitten. Mm-hmm. It was a cowardly thing that he did to go up behind him and try to strangle him. I don't know what the hell he was trying to do.
Well,
But it's also a cowardly thing. Getting a tetanus shot. What kind of statement are you giving your team? Oh my God, I'm so afraid that he gave me rabies. I'm so paranoid. He's such a wimp. I swear to God. And he's going to be on the U.S. Olympic team? Please. You know what? I hope they put him on the U.S. Olympic team because I want to see Canada go in there and bite Pacioretty on the ass and then watch us win the gold medal. I'm sorry. I'm on a tangent now.
Don is in the house.
Now listen here. How do you know that he bit him? You can't see anything. Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna bother. There's no chance.
Quickly, I want to get to Raptors too. But
Go ahead.
Before we do, St. Louis Blues. I don't know if you've paid attention to them.
They're floundering.
They've hit a wall.
Did you see? Oh my.
They
Okay.
lost 4-1 last night.
Yeah, but last night, Halak comes back from injury, goes for the warm up,
Yeah.
gets injured again.
Yeah, I know.
We're talking in Toronto. Oh my God, Reimer's injured. But how bad is it? Don't tell me. I know they have a great tandem. Brian Elliott.
Not this year.
Brian Elliott. Last year he was amazing.
Great tandem
He was
last year.
amazing.
Brian Elliott has been horrid this year.
So I'm thinking this when I found out watching the highlights last night that Halak got injured in the warm up. I was starting to to formulate what was worse, the Toronto situation as it is, or right now the Blues situation.
Toronto. The thing with the Toronto situation is at least Toronto's playing well.
Yeah, that's true.
So Toronto's won 4 in a row.
But Ken Hitchcock has a defensive system too. Could that not happen to the Leafs? I was wondering that.
The thing is, though, Hitchcock might have a defensive system, but St. Louis has lost, I think it's 5 in a row, and they have given up 4 goals in every single game. Elliott's been in for every single game. They lost to LA 4-1, Anaheim 6-5, Detroit 5-1, Nashville 6-1, and on the road in Detroit 5-3. The last 4 games have been at home, and they've been obliterated.
Don't you just wish we were playing the Western Conference so the Leafs could score 7 goals?
I mean, I think Halak is the glue to that team. Even if Elliott is the backup and he had a good year last year, Brian Elliott though, I mean, what can you do?
He's playing like crap.
Yeah, I love it personally.
Why? I thought you liked St. Louis.
I like St. Louis and I like Halak and I like everything about St. Louis, but sorry, that wasn't me, by the way. This is for you, Anthony. You have Brian Elliott on your team in fantasy, so I hope he continues to. I don't want to swear.
Andrew is
crap the bed.
Talking into the microphone
Sorry.
now. I don't know who
That's how
Anthony
intense.
is.
He listens every
he's
week.
He's one of our listeners, our loyal listeners.
But yeah, he has Brian Elliott, and he won't trade me Brian Elliott, so I hope Brian Elliott dies. But
that was intense.
Let's try to fit in. Let's try to fit in Rudy Gay. Did you watch the game on Friday night?
No, unfortunately.
Did you know what happened? You
No.
know what happened? You don't know what happened?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I was busy. I have a life.
Oh, okay. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Friday night, well, it was the snowstorm, so you really couldn't leave your house.
True.
So I decided to watch the Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole purpose, it was the Rudy Gay show. And Raptors are down by 4 points with 10 seconds left. They inbound it to Gay.
Let me guess. He makes the shot. He ties the game.
Yeah. No, he makes the shot to put him down by 2.
But he ties the game eventually, right?
Well, hold on. Hold on.
I didn't watch it. What am I talking about?
So,
Rudy Gay is he's I don't know. That's the way he plays.
superhuman. I gotta buy a jersey. This guy's impressed me so much.
Do it.
But
Buy the jersey.
But
I'm buying a camouflage Raptors Gay jersey. It'd be awesome.
Not bad. So he makes the bucket. They're down by 2 with 5 seconds left, just under 5. David West sees, because they're facing Indiana. Indiana has won 15 straight at home. They've only lost 3 games on the road all year. David West sees one of the guards down the court by half court. So he throws it to the shooting guard. Rudy Gay runs back, intercepts the ball with 5 seconds left, throws it to Amir.
You should see Andrew right now. He's so excited.
Throws it to Amir. Amir throws up a teardrop from the free throw line. Doesn't go. This is all with 5 seconds left. Gets his own rebound, puts it up. It literally leaves his hand with 0.1 seconds left. Literally 0.1. It's out of his fingertips. Raptors tie the game. They go into OT. They go back and forth. Raptors get the last possession. Rudy Gay hits the game-winning shot, and the Raptors go home and snap Indiana. It was a playoff game. It was a great game. That is why I loved it. That's why they went out and they got Rudy Gay. They need a guy like that who can make the big shot.
Now I've been hearing a lot of things about how, people are writing off this season for the Raptors. There's no way that they're going to be able to catch 8th place. There's just
It'll be tough, that's for sure.
But with that, they're also saying next year is going to be very interesting for the Raptors because, well, you may get new players depending on who you're going to trade for
the most part,
to get
though,
Bargnani or to trade Bargnani.
The
who you're
core
gonna
is
get.
there, though, right? So you have Lowry, DeRozan, Gay, and Valanciunas.
When's the trade deadline?
It's coming up, actually.
So, we should talk a little trade stuff here because we're going to do it for the NHL, which is coming up as well. Well, in a month or two. Quickly, Bargnani.
Mm-hmm.
What's he worth? What can we get if we're going to trade him? Or wait till the summer?
You would trade him for a couple of basketballs, I'm sure.
No, basketballs. I'd trade him for a nice, good hockey stick.
Rumored deal. was Bargnani to Chicago for Carlos Boozer. With
Okay, who's I don't know who Carlos Boozer
Boozer's
is.
a pretty good player. He's a low post presence. He's the second fiddle to Derrick Rose. He used to be on Utah. He used to be second fiddle on Cleveland.
So he's
to
a
LeBron James.
He's a second fiddle.
He's a second fiddle guy, exactly. But he's a very
Is that the best?
he's an
Raptors could get.
probably, but he's an interior guy. So what I mean by that is he goes in the rough spots. He rebounds the ball. He posts up. Where Bargnani is the complete opposite. You could not find him near the rim. Bargnani's out on the 3-point line, waiting for a rebound
and then he'll miss it.
Yeah. So.
You know what?
But
Seriously,
the thing with Boozer,
that sounds like a great deal.
it would be a good deal. The thing is, Boozer's owed $9 million more over the next 2 years than Bargnani, and Boozer has an extra year. So
and he's older.
It would also propel. It would propel. Yeah, he is older. It would propel the Raptors into the luxury tax where they'd have to pay dollar for dollar. So it's up to whether they want to actually do that or not. So Chicago, I went on Chicago Bulls forum. I wanted to see what they thought of it, and all the fans did not like it. They like Boozer because Boozer.
Of course they didn't.
Boozer's a guy. He's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
You know, just people buy the jersey just to have Boozer on the back. You know, so
that's the best jersey ever.
Bargnani would definitely stretch the floor for them, but I don't think it's what Chicago needs.
It's not what the Raptors need either.
But if they got Boozer and they put him at the 4, he's the perfect number 4.
So let me ask you your ideal deal to send Bargnani somewhere
Everyone's
else.
talking about Pau Gasol coming here now. Gasol's out.
Another Italian or another European.
Gasol's
I'm
out.
sorry, I'm not. Listen, I didn't mean Italian. I meant European. Okay, he's probably Italian because there's a lot of great Italian and Spanish basketball players. But another European, it's like trading one for one. The exact same player, except
Gasol's out 2 months, so
that's not going to happen.
That won't happen.
But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like the whole thing with Bargnani, I don't know. Maybe Paul Gasol, if that trade would ever happen, not that it will, but maybe he's leaps and bounds better for the Raptors.
Gasol's older and he's got foot problems. I wouldn't really want Gasol.
I know. You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
I'm saying like you could say like, oh, people would complain like another European. We're trading a European for another European, and that was the whole thing with Bargnani. You know, some people were complaining that, you know, we had first overall and we drafted a European, and then when we drafted Valanciunas, it was this. People were like, "What's going on?" Valanciunas now has played well, and a lot of scouts before this season were saying Valanciunas is lights out. He's crazy good.
The ideal scenario, they'll never get him, but my ideal scenario would be David Lee off Golden State. Just a guy who goes down deep. He's good for a double-double. He rebounds, does a little bit of everything. He doesn't need the ball. I mean, he's not a number 1 option, but he's a number 2 and number 3. He does the dirty work. He'd be like Boozer. That's why I think Boozer would be a good fit. I don't think Chicago will do it. I don't even think Toronto will do it. But Bargnani's coming off the bench now, and Amir Johnson's starting, and the fuss has been that Bargnani missed last game with flu-like symptoms, so people didn't know whether a trade was in place to trade him. We'll have to wait and see.
Just get it done. That's all I got to say. Anyways, we're gonna get quickly here to predictions here. We can do we can do Raptors. We can do Raptors if you want to.
No, that's okay. I think we're good.
No. We'll do Raptors next. What game or 2 games or 3 games? At least we did 3 games. So.
Raptors, they're in Denver. Denver's here is what I.
Denver's here. Okay, they lose that game
this week. They've only got 2 games. They've got Denver, and then they go to Madison Square Garden tomorrow.
Okay, so 2 losses. You?
They'll beat Denver and they'll lose to New York.
They're gonna beat Denver.
They'll beat Denver.
You want to bet on that? Your pro line ticket's got to be looking real bad right now. Okay, that's fine. Leafs. We already know the next 3 games. How do you think it's going to turn out? Scores? It's easier to put scores for hockey games.
We're doing so you want Carolina?
Just do the next
Ottawa.
3 games like we did last time.
Okay. So 2 on the road.
Hopefully we're pleasantly surprised again.
I would say they'll go 1-2. Like I want to say they'll go 1-2, but they're playing such good hockey.
Who would win though? That's what I'm saying.
They would beat Ottawa Saturday night. I think they'll win.
Yeah,
if I had to go out
Yeah.
and do a pro line ticket, I would pick Leafs.
Oh yeah, me
beating
too. Me
Ottawa.
too. I think they'll win on Saturday. In Carolina,
That's gonna be tough.
they play
They've
well
done
on
it
the
in the
road,
past.
though. They played well on the road.
I'll say they're 2-1. They beat Ottawa and Florida, and then they lose to Carolina.
Yeah, a betting man would say they lose in Carolina. They go back home. They win Ottawa.
A betting man would have said they'll go 3-0 last week, and that betting man would be rich. But
yeah, but that betting man doesn't exist. I'm saying the average betting man wouldn't say the Leafs would go 3-0 on a road
the
trip.
average no.
But I'm saying the average betting man right now, I think they would lose on Thursday night against Carolina.
You never know.
They could lose all 3 games.
They could
that could happen.
They could win all 3. So
they win all 3. They're passing Boston, assuming Boston loses even just one game in the next 3 or 4 games, and Toronto wins all the games. They will be atop their division and second overall. Right now, the Leafs are 6th overall in the league.
Really?
6th overall in the freaking league. Can you believe that?
Oh, they're tied for 6th.
It doesn't matter. They're still in 6th. What happened? Okay.
No, they're tied.
That could change. That could
sorry,
change
they're tied
tonight.
for 5th.
They're tied for 5th. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
Vancouver, San Jose, Toronto,
the way
Pittsburgh.
this schedule is this season for all the teams, that could change tonight. Right? That could change tonight. That could change tomorrow. That could change Thursday night. It changes every night because every teams play every night. So the overall record's going to change. The East record, they stand at 4th, tied with Pittsburgh. Now, if you tell me that Toronto's going to beat Pittsburgh by the end of the season, no. Pittsburgh's probably going to.
So if the playoffs were to start today, Toronto would have home ice against Pittsburgh.
If Toronto keeps playing like this, they may not have to worry about. I mean, we're not talking about. I know some people. Oh yeah, I know Toronto starts off bad, but
you know what? I've seen it so much.
Starts off well.
I've seen it so much in the past, and you have to where they play well to start the year. And
don't start this.
So let me.
Don't. No, I'm not letting you do it.
No, let's come back in 2 weeks, and if they've.
You said that 2 weeks ago. No, we're not doing that. Just listen to me. Just fine. No, I'm gonna finish, and then I'm gonna go, and then I'm gonna go.
I was just gonna say, let's come back in 2 weeks. Let's see where they are, and if they're still playing this type of hockey, where they're playing efficient offensively, very good defensively, then I'll be confident.
I agree with you. I just want to make a point. The things that really piss me off when it comes to people and talking about the Leafs, who obviously don't know anything about hockey, say, yeah, well, they always start off well at the beginning of the season and then they tail off. And I'm like, I tell them, especially the last couple of days, because the Leafs have been playing well. They've been these people. I mean, I'm not saying they like specifically, but just people I talk to who either don't watch hockey or aren't Leafs fans. They say that, and my question to them is: 1, do you watch hockey? 2, do you understand that this is only a 48-game season? You know, that right now there's 32 games, something like that. 33 games left.
35.
Yeah, and if the Leafs continue
They're
on
a quarter of the way there.
If the Leafs continue on the pace as they did last year,
that's good though, because there's not enough time for us to screw up.
Exactly.
In the end,
right? So by the 48-game mark last season, that's when they started.
So by the
that's when they started screwing up.
So by the 48th game mark,
do you know what?
We should be in 8th.
Did you know by? Let me see here. The 20th game last season. It was the 20th or this time last season. 13th game. We were like first place in the East.
No, that's not possible.
Well, I think we were second.
No, because the tail. If it was this part last year, maybe it was 20 games. Because this part last year, we were in a tailspin because we just lost 5-0 to.
Yeah, but that's February.
5-0.
I'm talking about this time last year. I'm talking about 13 games in.
Oh, okay, that
right, because we had gone. What was it, like 7-2 or something like that to start the season?
I'm not sure.
Anyways, the point is, it's a shortened season. People get over it. Okay, the Leafs are playing well. If they continue playing well, just like you said, in 2 weeks, then we're gonna know if they're legit or not. But anyways, that's BluLunch. It was a great show. I think.
We covered a lot.
I love the rapid fire. We may do that again sometime. You're gonna have to do it again. Come up with something crazy and just do it. Okay. And I'm not George Costanza. It's like discovering Plutonium. No, I'm not going to do that. Anyways,
worlds are colliding.
Worlds are colliding. He's Drew. I'm Jay. This is BluLunch. Have a good day.